many stories that I found there. There seems to be a conspiracy to hide the fact that there was once a docket opened for defeating the ends of justice in any event before investigators were changed. There's also a situation of whereby the murder docket was going to include all the people that were within the house when the actual murder occurred. So I wonder what exactly the NPA is looking at in terms of charges. But if we look at the possibility of charging Kelly Khumalo for defeating the ends of justice, I would assume that having read the article itself, it seems that she had assisted somebody to cover up the murder, or the person who committed the murder, or the person who hired these people that committed the murder. So therefore, that would be the charge, I believe, where they would rely on for defeating the ends of justice. As a matter of fact, it might also be an accessory after the fact, because she then covered up what happened. So that is just basing on what the article says itself. I'm not very clued up as to what the NPA's mindset is pertaining to the case. But when you look at what defeating the ends of justice is, and also the possibility of being an accessory after the fact, those are the only two things I think the state will probably rely on when they pursue a charge against Ms. Khumalo.
It's been a very long-running and complicated case in Nthabiseng, and I remember most recently the brother of the late Senzo Meyiwa suggesting that the people who are now in the dock, those people are merely being framed. I hope I'm capturing at least some of what was said by Senzo Meyiwa's brother. But I also listened with interest that the people that the family is relying on in order to prosecute this case successfully, seeing that they did not feel so confident about the NPA's abilities here, and that is AfriForum. Remember, they are working with someone who's very seasoned in the legal fraternity, Gerry Nel. Gerry has been very cautious to say that these people may not necessarily be connected, whereas the family is emphatic that these are not the people that are behind this. Someone is being protected. Your thoughts around that?
Well, if the family is of the opinion that the people that are currently facing the charges of murder are not the people that actually committed, I think it would be prudent for the state to at least look into it and see why the family is of the opinion that these are not the peoples or the perpetrators in this situation. And like you said, Gerry Nel, being the Washington brief in this matter, also has the duty to put forward the feelings and instructions, basically, from the family of the late Senzo Meyiwa. So remember that as a Washington brief, you're not a dominus litis. So the state is dominus litis in this situation. They can choose to listen to you or not listen to you as a Washington brief. So Gerry Nel doesn't have much of a big say as to how the state should conduct its case. Remember, at the end of the day, it's state versus. It's not the Meyiwa family versus, and it's not Gerry Nel versus. It's the state versus. So they can choose whether or not to take these instructions or advice from the family and Gerry Nel and put it into action. So it will be very interesting to see, now that the trials or the court case has officially landed within the courtroom, how it's going to unfold, and if at some stage they will then withdraw the charges from certain individuals and add others. Yeah. It will be very interesting to see how that works out.
And on the face of it, as we conclude our conversation, Nthabiseng, on the face of it then, when you read about the latest developments around this matter, and Kelly Khumalo being the latest development, might this be the move by the NPA to try and test the family's theory around someone is being protected? And I suppose the legal system then will have to put these allegations to test. Is that something that they're likely to do, or are they going to go based on the strength of what is before them, which is evidence?
I think it would be wise to, at minimum, look into it. You don't have to invest as much manpower into looking and into the theory of the family. If the facts within the docket are stronger than what the family is saying, then I do believe the state will proceed with what they have at hand. But the only advantage that they have now as the state is that the trial hasn't actually commenced. It's only been investigations and postponements to date. On the next occasion, the trial ought to start. So in the interim, I think it would be prudent for them to at least look into it, at minimum, look into it and see if there is anything to go on in those avenues. And should there be nothing, then it doesn't stop them from proceeding with trial on the next date. And if there is something on the next date, then the matter can either be withdrawn provisionally in order for them to continue investigations, or they can continue on, but then not with the trial, and just postpone the matter for further investigations. That is just my opinion. I don't know what the docket of the state looks like, but that would be the avenues that should be available to them.
Nthabiseng Dubazane is a legal expert. Thank you very much for your thoughts.